Good morning and welcome back to the Vision Alignment Show, where we all talk about the importance of having our vision aligned with our core beliefs, our core values, or really our core strengths. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We have a guest coming on, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her before she comes on. This guest knows a lot about having her vision aligned with her core beliefs and her core values, really her core strengths. She's the author of a book that's entitled Small Events, Big Impact. She's a CSP and a member of the $1 Million Speaking Club, the member $1 Million Speakers Group. And while not working, she's probably doing yoga, skiing, or road tripping. And getting to know her digs in Texas now. And she has just moved there into south of Austin. So without any further ado, I want to bring on our guest today out of the green room, none other than Michelle Villalobos. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Brian. Nice to see you. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's so great to have you on this morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Good. Well, Michelle, tell us, when is your first recollection of knowing your vision?
Like yesterday? I don't know. I would say that the vision that I operate from today started dropping in about 3 years ago. I think that I had a vision before that, but it's been evolving, and there was a significant shift to it about 3 years ago. And now it's much more clear, which feels good because I feel like I spent a lot of years fuzzy in my vision. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So dropping in, tell me a little bit more about that.
So about 4 years ago, I started working with a new mentor, and her whole thing is oriented around, basically there are a lot of things it's oriented around, but essentially tapping into the feminine wisdom, intuition, intuition, deep listening, that sort of thing. And so I started a practice of that in the mornings. And the first year that I did it, and I went through this winter season, the winter is the season of that, of deep listening, kind of receiving the messages. Through that entire year, things just started to change and shift and reorganize and pop. And the vision that dropped in was that there are two things that happened that year. The first was that I really am clear that I would like to live on land, like a big piece of land, and create a community type of environment for myself, for my clients, a place where we can have retreats and small events and transformational experiences, and that where other people could lead those experiences as well. So that's sort of the big vision that's further away. And then the more immediate vision is to build a culture and a community of superstars, is what I like to call them. People who are adding value, contributing to the world, making the world a better place. Shining their light as brightly as they can, and thereby inspiring other people to shine as well.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. If you want to hear more, stay right there. Michelle, oh, this is phenomenal. I'm so anxious and looking forward to this call, this meeting. So tell us, can you tell us a little bit more about your story? Because I know you were in Miami for a while. You went to Denver. Now you're in Texas. And obviously the green space and wanting to have that green space, the land to go to is important to you. But what else has happened? How I know a little bit of your story from reading your bio, which was on the call, but tell us a little bit more if you could.
Okay, I'll go all the way back to the beginning.
All right.
I'll keep it tight. Essentially, my parents are Cuban immigrants. They escaped the communist regime, or my dad really escaped. My mom was born in the United States, but of Cuban descent, Cuban family. And so my story goes that from a very young age, I was encouraged to achieve and succeed, kind of like a little bit of, kind of holding the weight of our culture on my shoulders. I don't think my parents meant that at all. They just really, really wanted their risk and their effort to pay off through me and through my brother. And so we both got like a really strong message of success, achievement, hard work. And you didn't take a lot of risks. They already took the risks. So the idea was, you guys just, keep it easy. Don't no inventas was what I heard. Don't invent anything, like just stay the course. And I did that. I did really well in school. I was the first person in my school, I think ever, but maybe in at least a couple decades, to go to an Ivy League school. I was raised in the Dominican Republic. That's not strictly true. Some people had gone to University of Pennsylvania. I forget that that's an Ivy League. But anyway, the point I'm making is simply that it was about like achieving at a very high level. And I thought that was what would make me happy and what I had to do or what I should do in life. And I really bought into that big time. And my ego was very wrapped up in all of that. And when I graduated from college, I started working my way up the kind of corporate ladder. I ended up getting a great job, making great money, and realizing, 15 years in, that I was miserable. It looked great on the outside, but on the inside, it was a very dark time. I was drinking heavily. I was partying a lot. I was trying to numb the pain of essentially not being in alignment with my true self, my true vision, my true passion, my purpose, any of the things. And that's my belief now, is that when we are out of alignment, the universe will try to wake us up, or God, or whatever you want to call it, your higher self even will try to wake you up. And if you don't listen, the messages will get louder and louder and louder. And they eventually got so loud that, I'd started my own business. I was doing pretty well. And about 7 years ago, it all fell apart. I had a personal debacle. My engagement broke up. I was getting engaged to be married. That broke up. My health, I got a serious health diagnosis. And then as a result of paying attention to these two things, my business sort of came to a screeching halt. And that was the big wake up call I needed to understand, like, I wasn't doing the thing I was on this planet to do. I wasn't being the person that I could be. And I needed such a huge breakdown of my entire life in order to wake up to that truth.
So going from where you were to where you are now, I mean, obviously you're where you are now. You're phenomenal. You're doing very, very well. How does that make you feel?
Grateful. Very, very grateful.
Good word.
Grateful that grateful, gosh, for all of it, for all the parts, we have this sort of, I think I had, and I know many people can relate to this sort of idea that I lived a very polarized life, like good, bad, right, wrong, this, that. And it was like everything was either good or bad. Did my performance, was it great or was it awful? It was just and so I always looked at things in a lot of ways as like, what did I do wrong here? I'm not good enough, right? There was a lot of that running the show underneath the surface. And all of this work that I've done and has really created this belief now that everything is already okay. There is no thing to fix. It is perfect. Like, this is my path. This is my journey. This is, and as long as I optimize for alignment, as opposed to optimizing for ego, optimizing for outcomes, optimizing for money, optimizing for status, optimizing for reduced conflicts, or whatever the thing is, but really optimizing for alignment. And I look at alignment as the ever changing or ever evolving process of getting closer and closer to one's true self. That's what I think that is.
I love that. I get the feeling you're not using the word alignment the way you are just because we're on the Vision Alignment show. You're using the word alignment because that's who you are.
That's my word. I mean, that's why you and I, when we first connected, I was like, oh my God, that's my word too. You know, I really believe it. I think everything comes down to it.
Yeah, that gives me chills.
Mm-hmm.
So, Michelle, tell us, what do you think the biggest factor in your success is?
Oh, mentoring, not me mentoring, but being mentored, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I tried to do it alone for 39 years and ended up at the bottom of a pit of despair and destruction.
Hmm.
And it was mentors, and it continues to be mentors who remind me who I am, remind me what I came here to do, remind me that it's my life and I am empowered to make choices and to choose anything as it is. I would say without that, I would not be growing. I would not be evolving as quickly as I am now. And as you know, I think 7 years to have like a complete life and business and personal transformation is pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I'm nowhere near you yet. So, but again, I'm happy. I'm in a
Yeah.
spot where
Yeah.
I'm doing what I want to do. I'm like you. I feel like I'm in line with where I should be. So
I wasn't. You know, and by the way, that's 7 years since the big breakdown. There was 7.5 years before that
yeah.
that I was. So I've been in business now. This will be my 15th year that I'm going into.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's still things that are in your way at
Always.
times. What are the biggest obstacles or challenges you have?
Always. I mean, honestly, myself.
Yeah.
um, one of the things that I'm working on right now is cultivating presence and the moment, like being present, like that's all we really have, right? And I know I'm not the first person to say this. You know, the past is gone, the future is not guaranteed. What we have is right here, right now. And I've been a person who, from very young age, and I don't know if it's my nature or my nurture, but I've always lived in the future. I've always been a visionary. That's the bright side of it. And I've always been also, you know, there's an anxiety in that of like controlling the future. And so I've recognized that as a big challenge, the desire to control things. And the more I believe we try to control life, the smaller our life has to get so that we can control it. Right. And
Hmm.
so it limits bandwidth. It makes us not take risks, right? Because we want to have everything be perfect. We don't want to have any mystery or, you know, and so for me, there's a living in this moment rather than some future moment.
Wow. Real quick. Anybody that's online, please put a hashtag live. If you're listening live, if you're listening on replay, put a hashtag replay. Let us know where you're coming in from. That would be helpful as well. So I see that there's somebody here, Jill Sullivan, that's commented. That she puts in hearts. So hi, Jill. Thank you for joining. And there's yeah, and she agrees. So awesome. Very cool. And hashtag live. Thank you, Jill. From all the way in Eber, Utah.
Oh, I love Utah. I'm there a lot. I go about 10 to 12 times a year.
Wow.
I love it
Wow.
out there.
Where in Utah do you go?
Salt Lake City. I have a YouTube channel that's growing, and I film there with one of my mentors, my mentor for YouTube. And so I film there once a month. His name is Nate Woodbury. He's fantastic. He's a genius.
And okay, so I know we have some information here in regards to your podcast, but so there is that. But I also want to make sure that we talk about your YouTube channel. So what is your YouTube channel? And I'll put that up here as well.
Thank you. So this was something that started about 2.5 years ago. Nate Woodbury was my client. He's beautifully and brilliant, quote unquote, mechanic brain. Like he figures out systems and processes, and he kind of cracked this code on YouTube. And while he was my client, he came to me, he said, Michelle, you need to do a YouTube channel. This could be huge for you. And he showed me the possibilities. He showed me what his vision was. And it felt aligned. And so we launched it about 2 years ago. And since then it's been growing, and it's not huge. And it's also a big driver of leads to my business now, which is it's amazing. It's a really cool thing to have people that I don't even know coming in and seeing that YouTube channel. And then, so what it is it's all everything, every topic under the sun that I can think of that people might want to know about growing a superstar business, marketing, sales, speaking, business models, revenue streams, personal development, all the things.
So is it youtube.com/superstar?
I think it's got both my name and Superstar Activator in it. So if you go to YouTube and you search for Michelle Villalobos or Superstar Activator, you should be able to find my channel. And I can also take a look for you if you don't find it.
Villalobos. So I'll make sure that I put this in the chat here.
Found it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Boom. There it is.
Wow, you're good. So let's see. I was going to put this up, but so you put in something else. So I'll make sure that we have this in the chat so everyone else can see. So
yeah, so I talked about, I mean, everything from the mundane business basics, tactics, and strategies, all the way up to how do you stay on your purpose? How do you not fall into a drama triangle victim trap with yourself and with others? How to set boundaries? I cover everything that I find fascinating about personal development as it relates to business development.
Okay, so there's that. Now let's see. And some others have joined us here. So we saw Jill Sullivan. Oh,
hey Jill, yeah, come to Heber. I think it's called Heber, right? 20 minutes from Salt Lake City. All right.
And then our friend Amron Singh is on as well. Hello, Amron. Good seeing you this morning.
Good morning.
So let's continue this, Michelle, if you would. Tell us a little bit more about your next level. So what you're doing on YouTube is phenomenal, but tell us a little bit more about your next level of success.
My next level. So what's coming in the future?
Yep.
What's coming forward? Oh, I'm excited to share. Hold on. I'm going to open my door real quick. Let my dog in.
Well, that's important. Let the dog in.
So I love that you asked me this, because I'm really, like I said, I have a tendency to live in the future, right? So I'm very excited about what's coming. So I got COVID in February, and one day I woke up, kind of delirious fever, and I had this line, or this song running through my head, these couple of lines. And I tried to go back to sleep and forget about it. And I couldn't, I had to wake up and write it down. So I wrote it down, and what poured out of me was this poem, this 10, 12 stanza rhyming poem about, a woman or myself. It was written in the first person, who decides that she wants to have this new experience and take this big risk and fly. And I wrote the poem, and it just really spoke to me. I shared it with a couple people, and people were like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. You should do something with this." And I was like, "Oh yeah. I have so many ideas, so many things that I'm doing. I may or may not ever do anything with this." And then a couple of months ago, I had a conversation with, that's the painter outside. I moved into
he photobombed you.
He's like, "So I can't play my music right now?" I'm like, "No, please. I have this interview that I'm doing."
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So then I talked to this guy. He's in the $1 Million Speaker Group, Viral Workman, and he has this big conference he does in January. And he was like, can you come speak? And I was like, Virl, I don't have anything for this audience. Like, this is not what I do. I don't have anything kind of like motivational, inspirational. And then, we were just chatting, and he, talked about this one guy who wrote this children's book for adults, and he got a copy of every book for the audience. And I said, well, what if I did that? What if I, because I was thinking my poem, maybe it could become like a picture book. And he said it was a great idea. Go for it. So I started working on it, and I just got, it's been a few months now. I just got my first spread back from the artist yesterday for the book.
Really?
Beautiful. And I love it. And I'm so excited. So I'm really thrilled to do that. And then I have one other book that's, I have Small Events, Big Impact, which is going to be published soon. And then I have a third book that I'm also excited to write. It's like a personal development fable / novel kind of thing. So that's more far in the future, but that's kind of what I'm working on, what I'm excited about at this moment.
You are awesome, and I go with Jill here, and congratulations.
Thank you.
She was saying how she also had COVID.
It does, Jill. Yeah. It does. I call it the COVID upgrade, and I got it together with a group of my clients at the same. We all got it at the same time. We got it at the same time, and we all had the COVID upgrade. And it's that's how we're choosing to relate to it. See, that's what I mean about empowerment. Like, we decided together that that's, that this was going to be an opportunity for something. And it was a huge awakening. There was a lot of layers in having COVID, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame for having caught it, and all the things.
Yeah. Yeah. So she agrees. I love that. Yeah. So I had to go for myself, but I don't. How do you look at it from an upgrade perspective? So I was vaccinated and all that, but I still got COVID.
Yeah. Well, how do you look at it that way? So it's funny because that kind of perspective started a few years ago with my spiritual mentor. I remember going to back then. I went to a wedding with a cold. Back then, we still did that sort of thing. I mean, I would, right? In a million.
You can't do that now.
No. I can't believe I did it then, now that I think about it. And so I went to this wedding, and I had this cold, and, I wasn't touching anybody. And my mentor was there, and she said, oh, you're doing an upgrade. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she said, well, that's what viruses do. They give your body an opportunity to purge things from their cells, because what the virus does is that it's not the thing that makes you cough and sneeze and all the things. It's your body's expelling and fighting of the virus that creates that reaction. So she said, what your body is doing is it's having an opportunity to expel and to upgrade. And I was like, well, that's a cool way to look at it. And indeed, like, I had a breakthrough right after that cold, and yada, yada. So when COVID happened, my other mentor kind of said the same thing. She's like, what if we look at this as something other than like an enemy to be fought? Like, what if it were part of Mother Nature? What if it were part of the earth, or whatever? And so just that kind of changed my thinking. And then when I got it, I had so much guilt and shame about getting it. There was a lot tied up in it that I'm not going to get into, and so I had to process or alchemize a lot of that. That wasn't just COVID. It was like shame as a thing that I have been dealing with since childhood. And I didn't realize it. So it gave me the opportunity to address these things gave me an opportunity to address these things that I'd never really looked at before. And I did the work, and on the other side of it was a big opening of, letting go of that shame and guilt.
Wow. I think we have a lot to talk about. I have a lot to learn from you, because hey, there he is again. But what's his name?
That's Jerry.
Jerry.
You want to say hi?
Yeah. Say hi to Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
Hi. Hey, Jerry.
He's painted my place.
Cool.
Yes, he's been doing a beautiful job. You can see this. You can't really see much, but that's green up there. So
nice. I bet it smells good there.
Yeah. Well, we've got windows open, fans on, air purifiers running.
Yeah. Wow. So I can't believe we're almost at the end of our time. This is going by so fast. Would you be willing to come back on?
Of course. Yeah. I love this sort of thing.
Oh, this would be awesome. So we've got a few more minutes here, but if you would, in these remaining minutes, and we can ask a few other questions, who helped you to see your blind spots?
My mentors and my clients. I would say my clients, because they're much. So my business is such that my clients and I, we're in a group format and we relate to each other a lot. We have a weekly call as a group. And so a lot of my growth has been about, well, if I'm going to lead these people and they're going to trust me to lead them, I better be doing the work. So I'm always excavating my life for these types of breakthroughs. And I don't think I would do that if I didn't have them. And then they also reflect things back to me a lot. We have a very open container, right? Container being like the collective, the kind of the structure that holds the group, the culture. And that, I do the work right alongside them. When we go to these retreats, I just did one in Santa Fe about a month ago with all of my, not all of them, but like all except maybe 5 clients were there. I did the work with them. I bring in the things and we do the activities, the exercises, and I do it with them too. So I would say that that's my biggest teacher is leading that group and being also a participant in it.
Yeah, that's cool. And Santa Fe is a beautiful town. So
that's really cool. We were up in Truchas. We were up in like the boonies, about an hour away.
Oh, wow.
Spend a day down in Santa Fe.
Huh. Awesome. Wow. So there's so much here. And you're going to come back, I know, but what would you leave the audience with if you could leave them with something to help them?
I would say that, and I think that you've probably said this or some version of this and your clients know this. And it's always a good reminder that it begins from the inside out. And that so often we get caught up in the outside in. Like, I work with business strategy with my clients. That's what brings them in the door. And they often are like, what's the program I should offer? How should I market this? How should I launch this? How much should I charge for this? And those are all really important questions that need to get answered. And it starts from inside. Like, what am I being called to do? Who am I on this planet to be? What am I here to bring and to contribute? Really, what brings me joy? That's one of the biggest things that I talk about with alignment is like finding joy again, because so many of us do all the things and then get so off track. We don't even know what joy is anymore. I certainly didn't. And so how do we get back to the energy from which we create? That's Nani Leia's term her phrase is, the energy from which we create guides and determines the energy of what we create. So if we're creating from scarcity, desperation, not enoughness, shame, guilt, whatever the things are, then we're going to be infusing that into the creation. If we create from a place of gratitude, appreciation, trust, joy, alignment, then we will create things in the world that have those qualities as well.
I love that. That's beautiful right there. Worth the price of admission. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for being on today. As a treat, we will have you back.
All right. That sounds like a plan. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to send you to the green room. If you would hang out there for a little bit, and then I'll be closing out the show, and then I'll come back to you, and we can have a little chat.
Okay, sounds
All
good.
Right. Thanks, Michelle.
Hey, everybody.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Woo! Oh my goodness. Incredible. Michelle Villalobos is awesome. And so much of what she said is in true alignment with everything we talk about every day. So this is perfect. Oh, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about having her back. But we have a show coming up. Well, not next week. The next week is Monday the 22nd. That will be Thanksgiving week. I'm actually having some medical one is a test, but a doctor's appointment. So we won't be having a show on the 22nd, but we will have a show on the 29th, and we'll have Jason on with us, And I'll tell you a little bit more about Jason in a minute. But again, if you would go out to Michelle Villalobos' site, look her up, look up YouTube and subscribe to her channel. That would be phenomenal. So this friend Jason is a guy that I was introduced to who has a different group or a different way of teaching those with autism, or intellectual and developmental disabilities. So he works with different groups like that in stages and off-site venues in order to be able to help them with their improv. So, and improv is a way to help not only get to know people better, but also to grow a community, and to grow a community that has a true intention of having their vision alignment. So look forward to having Jason, and hope he can join us here in about 2 weeks for that. So there's just so much goodness that's happening all around us, and they're all we have so much to be thankful for. So I appreciate being on today. If there's ever anything that I can do for all of you, please let me know. But as always, remember to keep one eye